remember that when I start my videos. So, couple household items, list of things I've been thinking about. Don't forget that the new mini catalog for September through October goes live, I think September 1st, September, somewhere in there. But I'll get you the exact date. Next item is that the DSP is on sale only for a few more days, and then the sale is over. So make sure you get that. So some of the things we're going to be focusing on today will be our tools, how to use them, and what tools are, because everybody has different tools. So we're going to teach the basics about how to use a trimmer, how to use a tape runner. I've got a couple different kinds, depending on what you use. It may be a little bit different. How to ink up your sentiments and have a great image, even with new stamps that have never been used before. We're going to show you some blending techniques, just basic tools on how to use them. I think that's a really good area that people don't always touch on. You might get like 2 seconds here or 2 seconds there, but I think this is a really good one. New catalogs are going to be coming out very soon. You will be able to sign up for them in September if you don't already have one. I put it out there back in June. If you wanted one, send me a message. Nobody did, so I didn't send any out. So got about 3 more minutes. The first thing we're going to talk about is our different tools. Okay, so I'm talking about from Stampin' Up's point of view, but I am bringing in a couple of non-Stampin' Up items. Okay, and there's the dog again. So let me bring this down. So when you look at different tools and stuff like that, every company has a different style. Every company has a different type. I don't even know where my bone folder is. Like, lost it a week ago. Oh, there it is. I do have a little bit of allergies going on. It is really windy, which is kicking up the dust. Just let you know there in case I sneeze. So, like I said, basically, my chair went down again. My glasses. There we go. A little bit higher. So, every company has a different set of tools, and it's a very important thing that people have that. I just noticed that. It's not my seat, it's where I've got my phone position. Always something different. So, some companies may only offer you basic tools. Stampin' Up has an entire few pages of different tools between basic tools, which are like trimmers, die cutting machines, blocks and stuff. Those are basic tools. Other companies may offer you coloring options or coloring tools, punches or die cuts. So those are all different tools that you use to create your cards and or scrapbook pages with, or 3D items, whatever you're creating. I think one of the best parts about Stampin' Up is they do offer a large variety. Some of the non-tool things that they have are like ink pad holders. Those are non-tools. We don't use them every day, but we do need them. So I think the biggest question is a need versus a want. So let me show you some tools here, and then I will move on from there. We're just about there. So one of the basic tools you'll ever see as a crafter is dies. Dies are super important when it comes to crafting. Dies require a die cutting machine, whether it's manual or it's electric. It's just a wonderful tool to have. It shortens the work, because believe you me, I've had bone spurs over these things with the manuals back in the day, cutting out multiples. That is not my favorite thing. So, like I said, stamps and dies are great tools to have. A lot of people think those are more like products rather than tools, but if you don't have them, you can't make a card with them. Hey, Kathy. Catalogs are a great tool because it shows you what you actually can see. Because sometimes people don't like shopping online. Sometimes people don't like shopping from a catalog. either way, it's a good tool to have in your house. So this is the annual catalog. I had it backwards. I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay. It's the way I stacked them on my desk. So annual catalogs are great tools because if you need to go back and look at something and say, well, they changed that a little bit. Okay, let's see what the change is. And you can read from each place. So if you don't have an old catalog, you can't see how things have changed. Prices always go up. That's a everyday thing. So another basic tool is a paper trimmer. This one trims and scores. I think I'm right on that one. Yep, so trims and scores. So this one has a blade, and this one has a little rounded tip on it. So it can just score your paper for you. So in that case, I would use a piece of paper. I'd line up how I want it. I'd bring my score tool up very gently. And then I would just bring my blade up very gently. You do not have to push these. They should just glide. You should not have to push, just glide. And then you can cut your paper. Now, you can cut your paper to any width you want as long as it fits on the cutting edge. This one is, I believe it's a little bit, I think it's 12 inches. It's 12 inches. Hey, Tammy. So this one's 12 inches. So you can fit a full 12 by 12, score, cut, and do everything you want in this. Another thing is this one has an arm. Now, I'm never really good at pulling these things out. Go figure. First time. I won. Putting it back. A little less successful, but that's just because of my arthritis. Plus, you got to be careful putting it back so you don't pinch yourself. So, great tool. Cutting board. Cutting board? I said cutting board. Trimmer. Okay, so things like runners are really good. And this is a runner that I have for my grandkids. I couldn't find this one the other day or my other one. I also have another one. Runners are really good, and these are used for adhesive. Runners have different type of adhesive. Some of them have flat adhesive. Some have dot. Some have low-tack adhesive. And it all depends on what your use is for. Okay? Some non-Stampin' Up! Tools that I use on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis is things like a X-Acto knife. I lost my cap, so I just kind of put it up here where nobody's going to get stabbed. It's put away. And blending brushes. Now, if you're old school like me, there were no blending brushes when I first started crafting. This is a brand new thing in the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. When I first started crafting, there were little daubers that you put on your finger and you just dip, 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 dip. And then they made bigger brushes or things that we would consider maybe painting with into craft products. And it just kind of developed or evolved from there. One of the old school tools that I have, Tammy, what's the new tool they got that does everything? I forget the name of it. But here's a pokey tool. Pokey tool's got a sharp edge on it, and I leave it in the packaging because I've been stabbed with one before, and it's not fun. It will make you bleed. So they don't sell these anymore. If you're lucky enough to find these on eBay or something that have got the entire packaging on it. Is it called a pokey tool? It's a pokey tool. So just like, not this one, the new one. The new line of ones. Kathy, Tammy. I got it. I got it. No, just kidding. So, like I said, we also have punches. Punches cut paper. So, there's a button right here. Hold these closed. Push that up, and it will open up so that you can then, I'm going to turn this around as soon as I get it right there. You can punch paper with it, and those are really cool, especially when you have a lot to do. So using punches can be easy. Oh, take your pick tool is the modern one. And then closing it, I would just set it down, push down, and then lock it back into place. I'm not really strong. It's uneven, which I mean, I know it's not locked. Okay, I got it there. It's locked. So punches are really good tools. Now, something that I don't have is any Stampin' Up! Blocks. I used to have some. I don't anymore. But sometimes you could just make do with the kit, their kit collection blocks. And they're really skinny. So for somebody who has arthritis, holding onto a heavy block is really hard. So I use these. They also have the Stampin' Up! Emblem right there, you can see. And on this one, I put a line on it. Where's my paper? Where's my paper? I put a line on it to help me line up my sentiments, and that helps. When I need to use longer or larger stamps, I use my Misty, which is a stamp positioning tool. One of the favorite tools of mine has always been adhesives, but it comes as far as the foam adhesive, otherwise known as dimensionals. Yeah, and that's another thing that can work. Like Tammy's saying, you can use your ink pads because they're nice and flat. So you can put a large stamp on that and then just pull it off with minimal issue. You know, there's not too much concern. But dimensionals is a great tool. And it doesn't matter what brand or design it is. Some of them are square, some of them are round. Ours are like little stop signs. I love them. Like if I remember the shape, I do it. Six-sided dice? No, it's not. Wrong game. And what I like about these is they come in full size, which you can see how large those are. And then they come in the small size, which are great for when you're working with small projects and stuff. So one of the things I thought I would do is I'll show you the way I use an ink pad with an ink blender. So I've already showed you how to use some other tools. So we're going to go ahead and pop this open. I always struggle because of my arthritis. And I don't do it the right way according to everybody, but that's okay. Oh, I just got ink all over my hand. It's all over my brand new shirt. Okay, let's see. Well, at least it wasn't the thumb again. I always seem to get ink under my thumb. But that's okay. So these open this way and then you slide them in, and I'm just not really good at that part. So most of the time I just kind of leave it like that. So with the blending brush, I try to push this in just so I don't have any incidences. There we go. A little bit better that time. So when I'm using an ink pad, I don't go juicy in one spot because I'm going to wear that one spot. You can kind of see where the head was on that one. So instead, you can go back and forth like this, but it creates a little bit of pooling. You can see right there it was pooling. So instead, I do it in a gentle, I'm barely pushing on it, gentle, up and down, just like this. Gentle. It gives me a nice amount of color to go ahead and add it to my paper. So the more color you want, the more you add and keep going to it, of course. So that's a great tool, and I like it that way. Doing it in an S or a figure 8 pattern where you're covering the entire ink pad is going to give you better coverage, and it's not going to wear down a spot on your ink pad. So I saved my favorite tool for last. This is only going to be a short video. I joined Stampin' Up! Back in, I didn't need that, trying to throw it away too soon. I joined Stampin' Up! Originally in 2013. My cousin sent me a card kit and I fell in love and I joined Stampin' Up! And even though I've done different crafts and everything, I've been an independent or a basic solo crafter where I can use any products, do anything, and I've tried a lot of products. And when I tell you that, I still go back to the Stampin' Up! Snips. That's what I do. That's what they are. They have this super, I didn't have glue on it. They have this super tipped, easy to get into corners of stamps. So I'm going to grab my, where'd my blocks go? Probably underneath. And it is. So I'm going to grab my blocks. I'm going to grab a stamp to show you. Not this color. We're going to go with black. There's black. It's really easy to cut into little itty bitty places that you're not used to. So I'm going to go ahead and use a stamp I've never done before. One, it's a brand new stamp. No, I don't believe in conditioning stamps. I believe in stamping off. And that's the way I condition my stamp. A lot of other people condition their stamps by using an eraser and erasing the little bit of oils and stuff like that that's on a stamp itself, photopolymer stamp. Red rubber doesn't have that. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the, you know what, I'm going to stamp it right over the color. So I've got that just like that. And the really nice thing about the little scissors like this, I'm just going to cut this out so I can show you guys. The really nice thing about using snips like this is that you can get into these little areas I'm just going to do one little area so I can show you. And of course, I don't use scissors like, or the snips like other people do. Always pull from the back. You'll see there that they can get in there nice and close without worrying about tear out or any of the other stuff. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it this way, there's no way I could tell you everything about tools, about all the tools. Because this is only a portion of the tools that I use on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. I think one of the most exhilarating parts about crafting is you're always adding on new stuff. You're always upgrading. You're learning new products, new techniques. One of the products that I never got a hang of was the Stampin' Write markers. I never got a hang out of it. And then I found out, oh, they're just watercolors. I'm like, I can do watercolor, you know. And then their Stampin' Blends. The Stampin' Blends are an awesome tool. Even if you're not a great colorist, and I showed you guys how to use that. Even if you're not really sure, just go slow, do simple. Do simple is probably my greatest 2 words that I can tell anybody. And they're like, well, I don't understand what that means, Eva. Coloring simply just means that, think about back when you were in kindergarten, you used 1 color instead of 40, you know? Or when you were in 3rd grade and you got that Lisa Frank coloring book that you always wanted. Just got my daughter another pack of Lisa Frank. You know, that you wanted, and you colored just the outlines to make it look cool. Color is all about the ability to use just exactly what you want. It doesn't require anything new. It doesn't require anything different than what you're using. So I used ink on this. So I'm going to show you with the Stampin' Write. I can go right over that. Right over our ink. Just going to do the bottom half in the ink on one side. I can add ink right over that. And then if I want to, I can even add the blends on top of my color, my lighter colors. I went out of the lines. I'm just going to pick up where the color kind of ends and fill in the rest of this. So I'm just going to do 2 of them. The first one didn't have any color on the bottom. I kind of didn't hit the color in that area. As you can see, you can just kind of do half and half. You don't need to use just one product. If I hear one more time that you can only use this or you can only use this, Most artists, and I'm talking about graphic artists, do not use one product. They do not do just watercolor. They will add color pencils in there, um, the chalk markers. They will do multitudes of different layers to add and get the look they're looking for, that they want, that visually want. So I think opening up your mind and looking at it like, well, I want this. Okay, so I want it to look a little different. Back in the day, we used to use white highlighters a lot for detail. So do I have a white highlighter? I do. Okay, so white highlighters is another great tool because say like, I just want to come in and add a few dots, and I'm going to do it from the blue to the pink, peachy pink, and I'll do it on the yellow too. And the blue a little bit. So you can add highlighter to something to kind of punch it up one more step. I think the biggest thing that stops creativity isn't our inability to do it. It's our inability to think like a child rather than like an adult. Yeah, I agree, Tammy. It is. So when it comes to using tools, the only thing you need to know is read the manual and then forget the manual. Um, paper trimmer blades normally need to be changed often. So when I do my order for next month, I'm going to need some more blades. I'm down to, I think, 3. So I want to make sure I have some blades. So if I run into an issue or they're not available, I don't have to worry about running out. Things like dies, make sure that you read your die cutting manual to make sure that you're not going to damage your dies. Make sure that you don't cut too close so that you don't damage your dies. Blocks is something that I really don't worry about other than giving them a wipe once every few weeks or every few months so that you have clean blocks so that you can see your images better. As far as your black ink, Stampin' Up! Recommends that you use Memento Black, Tuxedo Black. Other items that you can use are different scoring tools or bone folders. I have a Teflon one. I've had this for about 6 years. It doesn't leave like a mar or a shine on paper like some of the other ones will. So I like this. I also like it because it's chunky and easy for my arthritic hands to hold. Other people might have different, but that's okay. Everybody's got a little bit of different tools. The biggest tool that I have on my desk, the biggest tool is my phone. And if you don't have a great phone, you're not going to have good video content. And if you don't have good content, you're not going to get the followers you want. I know. I started off with a really cheap phone, and while that was great, it worked because it was the technology of the day. It is not anymore. So if you get an opportunity to upgrade your phone, do it. Just, get the best affordable, good specs phone. Stay away from iPhones. I'm just going to tell you right now, iPhones are the AOL of browsers. If anybody knows, they know. If they don't know, they don't know. Okay, just saying. The last thing that I believe in wholly is, I don't know if I can fit it in here or not, lighting. Lighting is a very important tool because if you don't have good lighting, then you're not going to have a good picture. I don't have my secondary lighting on, so let me show you the difference. That's the difference right there. That's only one. And I wanted to start it off with just my overhead light so I can explain to you the difference. Does it make it brighter and everything else? Yes. But I don't need anything but the top light for when I'm doing a forward facing. When I'm facing down, I need as much light on that workspace as possible. So I'm just going to turn these off and show you the meager difference. I would like to say I had one of the really expensive lights, but I don't. I'm just starting off again. I'm working on how to budget and make the tools I have work. So let's talk costs. The average trimmer will cost you anywhere between $25 and $35 average. It's not just Stampin' Up, but any. So it's in range. Stampin' Dies, and I'm talking mostly photopolymer because that's what's on the market, and not just Stampin' Up, but on the market, Stampin' Die set will cost you somewhere around, depending on how many dies there are. If it's only like an outline, it's not as expensive, but they will cost you anywhere between $30 to $40 for a stamp with that many images. And a die with this many images will cost you somewhere around $30 to $40 as well. If you're lucky, they'll do a bundle, but a lot of other companies don't do bundles. So Stampin' Up! Offers 20% off all orders as a demonstrator, minimum of $300 per quarter. So I think it's a really good value. And like, even like, why are you bringing up the sales stuff? Because I need you guys to understand something. I did all the products. I did it all. I did it. I was an affiliate for everybody at one point, and it does not work. Not unless you got 1 million followers, it's not going to work. So instead, I say dig in your heels, find a product you love. I love Stampin' Up. I left it and I came back. I came back where I belonged. So as far as each week, I'm going to be here at 4 on Mondays. I'm not doing Thursdays anymore. Again, not doing Thursdays. But I hope that you learned something new about the tools that we have. I think that while I'm new to a few of them, I'm going to bring them out more often. We're going to start working with them, get used to them. Like, I only have this for another 1.5 years, and then it's gone. So I've got to learn how to use these. So we'll be doing a little bit of coloring with that. The other thing is, don't be afraid to bring in some other tools if you're just starting. You know, if you're just starting to Stampin' Up, don't be afraid to bring those tools. Don't be afraid to share what you already have. Like I said, I use several tools that aren't Stampin' Up. Sooner or later, you'll move everything over to where you want it to be. And whether it's 50% Stampin' Up and the other half is other people's stuff, as I like to say, I think you're going to be happy with it. Also, if you don't have a demonstrator and you're looking for one and you live in the Las Vegas, Laughlin, or I should say Laughlin, Bullhead area, look me up at ebussom.stampinup.net. I've also got other Stampin' independent demonstrators that watch my videos and stuff. So if you're looking for one and you're in a different area, just leave a comment. We'll take care of you guys. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you guys next Monday when we make a card. Until then, stay crafty, my friends. Bye-bye. Awkward. Awkward button. Just awkward. It's just awkward. They did everything else, but they couldn't move the button. Ugh, rant over. Bye.